Hi, and welcome to C Squared, the sci-fi podcast that moves at the speed of light. I'm Christopher Gildemeister.
And I'm Carma Spence.
And we're here today to talk about the fantastic movie, Fantastic Planet. Don't confuse this with the movie Fantastic Voyage, which is the one where they shrink themselves down and be in the submarine and are injected into the scientist's bloodstream, and it's got Raquel Welch in a wetsuit. And what was I thinking about again? Oh, Fantastic Planet. Yes, Fantastic Planet is a 1973 film, combined French and Czech. I normally would give the director and the producers and the author, but these names are all in French and Czech, and I don't want to draw outraged howls from anyone at the way I would butcher the pronunciation. Suffice to say, it's an extraordinarily creative science fiction film. It's animated, but the animation style is not at all what we're used to in the United States. Carma, what did you think of the film?
Well, watching it last night, there were two things going on for me because I remember it as a child.
Yes, you had seen it previously.
I had seen it when I was a little girl, and it made a big impression. I always remembered the blue people and the weird dancing statues, and those were images that were like really powerful and kept in my memory, which is why I bought it when I got it from Criterion Collection. So we watched it last night, and there was part of me that went, oh, this is as good as I remember it. And then other parts were like, well, I kind of remember it differently. So it was kind of cross. But as far as the art style, I really like how it's kind of like part Yellow Submarine with the weird shaped creatures, and part there was this cartoon I grew up with, The Christmas Carol, where I always call the art style kind of scratchy. So it was like things would kind of go like this, and they would kind of blend into each other, and it was very artistic and very precise. I mean, the people looked like people. It wasn't cartoony.
I think I understand what you're saying. I'm going to take it in a little bit of a different direction, however. I was not familiar with this film. I'd read about it a little bit, but I had never seen it before last night. And what struck me first was the animation style. It doesn't resemble anything that you see in American animation or Japanese or Asian animation. No. It's a very European style, and you were mentioning the other animated things it reminded you of. Now I think about it, what it reminds me of at points is the animation that you often saw in Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's the figures move oddly as though they're drawn and then sort of slid across the screen.
Yeah.
This is fuller animation than that. It's just an extremely striking visual style. The aliens are humanoid, but they're gigantic blue beings.
With these weird, like, Aquaman ears or something.
And they change Aquaman's ears.
Well, not weird. Aquaman ears, but you know, like aqua
creature ears. Thank you.
Creature from the Black Lagoon ears.
Yes.
But they're blue.
Aquaman is deeply offended.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Aquaman. You're very handsome. You don't have weird ears at all.
Okay. So the animation style is probably the thing that most viewers would be struck by. Most American viewers, certainly. But moving beyond that, the story is interesting in some ways. It's a sort of a conventional science fiction tale in that presumably this is Earth after it's been destroyed. There's a scene where the aliens are talking about Earth, and they say there's evidence that there used to be intelligent life there, and you see a bunch of rubble, so there has been some cataclysm on Earth. The general concept is there are these gigantic intellectual aliens who use human beings as pets.
Right. In fact, to go back a little bit, the aliens are called drags, D-R-A-A-G.
Yes.
And the humans are called oms, O-M-S. Yes. And yeah, they made that reference like they had taken us from
from Earth.
From Earth. And the other thing that was interesting is that the aliens' life cycle for like every, what they called one cycle for the aliens was like 10 years or 5 years for humans. Which is why they referred to us almost like we were rats, that we just proliferated everywhere and had all,
Yes. We don't live very long compared to them, but we breed much more quickly than they do.
Exactly.
So that humans on this planet are sort of a cross between pets and vermin.
Yeah. Kind of like rats.
Kind of like rats. Some few people adopt a human as a pet.
Yeah.
But many others want to get rid of the human infestation on their world.
And they have these de-ohm things
where it's like defleeing your house or something.
Yeah, they're like
gas
human bombs.
So our protagonist begins as an infant and is raised as a pet, and eventually learns about the drag civilization by listening in on the drag, his master owner's lesson tapes. And then eventually he finds other colonies of wild alms or humans and tries to help them set up a rebellion. It's an interesting picture in that I was about to say not a lot happens. There is a full story, but it certainly isn't action-packed.
No.
There are a few action sequences with very odd-looking monsters, again, reminding me very much of the Monty Python animation. And
it's definitely got a European feel, because American films almost always have a happy ending. And
almost always have lots and lots of action.
Yes. Or even if there isn't a lot of action, there's a patina of happiness in most American films. Yeah. In this film, there's lots of death, there's lots of violence. It's
depressing. It's a depressing film, by and large.
In many ways it is, which is also, seems to me, very French.
We're showing our ethnic bias here.
Now that said, I love French film. And there's some amazing French film that I love Amélie because it's so happy. But then you go to Jules et Jim or The Beauty and the Beast, and there's this darkness to it. It's like European films in general and French films, because we saw Valerian not so long ago.
Yes.
There's an aspect of real life. So crap happens.
Yeah.
Whereas in American films, when crap happens, you either don't see it or it's used for comic effect. Or they pump it up so it's so gritty and violent and dark that it's artistic.
In American films, you're too busy fighting.
Yeah.
To have to worry about mundane things like feeding time or your collar's too tight.
Right. The film opens with the main character. He's a baby in his mother's arms, and his mother's trying to run away from the drag, and it turns out it's a bunch of kid drags playing with her, and they end up killing her. That's not something you would see in an American cartoon, I think. Or if it happens off screen like Bambi's mom.
So overall, interesting film. One I'd recommend most science fiction fans watch.
Yeah.
But be aware going in that this is not at all a typical American film. Although, one other thing just occurred to me. This came out in 1973. It's very much in that post-2001, pre-Star Wars 1970s attitude of science fiction film. Even here in the U.S., THX 1138, certainly Silent Running.
Yeah.
Slow-moving, almost ponderous, thoughtful, depressing.
With a deep message.
Deep, or in the case of Silent Running, an allegedly deep message. And not
how you really feel.
Not real positive.
No.
Depressing, pessimistic.
Yeah. Kind of reminding.
And not a lot of action.
And at the end, it turns out that they're like a war happens between the drags and the alms, and then they
don't give it away.
At the very end, they decide they're going to make everything all hunky dory, but it's still kind of a
let's face it. For Europeans, that's pretty much a happy ending.
Yes, and that reminded me
because the humans don't clearly win. They don't defeat the aliens and send them whimpering back to their home planet,
No.
which is what would happen in an American film.
And it kind of reminded me of the ending of Children of Men. This movie's like that too, where it's like a happy ending, everybody's at peace, but it's not an ideal solution.
Okay.
And people died.
So, not an ideal solution. Wacky animation. People die.
Woohoo!
Fantastic Planet. 1973. French and Czech. Check it out.